Well, hello guys and welcome to a new We Talk UV video. This is Alex Asmacher back in the studio, and today we wanted to answer some of the questions we've been receiving lately from you guys. Back to basic color grading. Also, we'll leave you these Luts that we're gonna create now. We're gonna leave you so that you can download them on the description. And nothing else to say. First of all, and before starting, again, let me repeat, there's a million ways of color grading your footage. There is no right or wrong, and this is just one possible way to make it. As you've seen, the three shots, I have them here raw, and I wanted to first of all show you that there are three different shots, as you've seen at the beginning of this video. One with a castle, bright day, another one with more green forest, a little bit cloudy, and the other one with less light and also very cloudy. And we're gonna do three different types of color grading. So before you start creating a LUT and creating a adjustment layer that we're gonna use right here, it's important to say that you have to take a look at your footage, see if it's right or wrong in terms of white balance especially. We like to take a look here always at the temperature and at the tint. This is Premiere CC, but you'll find this in any other editing software. The temperature, for me it's a little bit too red, this shot. The Mavic most of the time gives very reddy shots, so I'm gonna put this down a little bit into a colder temperature. And also the tint for me, let's take a little bit out this red and go like something like this. Looks for me a little bit more natural. Okay, and to keep going, we'll now create the adjustment layer. You have to go down here, create a new item, click on adjustment layer, and make sure that your settings are okay, and you'll have it right here. Once you have it here, you can drag it on top of your shot, and now we can start creating the LUT for this shot. Well, for the first thing, what we like to do always is going directly to the curves, and as we normally and generally film with a very flat and not very saturated style, what we're gonna do is pop up a little bit the blacks, because this is very flat, and also increase a little bit the whites. So first of all, we're gonna take this a little bit this way so that you can already see the difference, that all the blacks, especially in the trees, are getting a little bit more notorious. Something like this. And also for the highlights, let's increase them to create a little bit more of contrast. Not too much, and just with this you can already see the difference, especially on this forest, on the trees. We're getting back a little bit of that color. Well, now the next thing we're gonna do is on the hue saturation curve. As we can see, the castle is okay, it is pretty good saturated, but all the greens and the blues on this image are a little bit, very flat. So what we're gonna do is create a couple of points here for the for the blues and the greens, and increase them a little bit in saturation, so that you can see that the sky, especially here, is going to be a little bit more saturated. And also for the trees, I'm gonna increase a little bit here, not too much. See, that was too much, and that was a little bit too oversaturated. This looks like here pretty good to me. If you want to see the difference on this, let's go to the effect controls, the adjustment layer, and this is what we just have done in, I don't know what, 31 minutes. The difference is pretty okay this way. This is a style you can use pretty much in all of your footage. It is a very basic, let's say cinematic LUT, and it is very easy to do. And for the next step, we would just wanted to go to creative, and this depends on you, on your type of drone that you're using. The Mavic usually does not get too sharp, so we're gonna give it a little bit of sharpness. I don't know if you can see it right here, but just increase the sharpness a little bit on this image, not too much. Also the vibrance, very important. The vibrance, as you already know, or if you don't, it's like saturation, but only in blues and greens, not that much in red. So if we would go all the way As you can see, it increases all the blues and greens, so we're gonna give it a little bit to increase a little bit the forest and the sky. And the saturation, we can leave it like this. Finally, we go to vignette. The amount, we're gonna go a little bit, not too much. I'm not a big fan of vignette, but as you can see here, the vignette creates around the corners of this image. You can create 1 is okay with -1, and also the feather increases a little bit so that it is not too harsh, too heavy on the image. And that's pretty much it. This would be a very, very basic color grading, and this is a very cinematic, easy LUT that you can actually use on all of the images. For example, if we go on the second, which is already not graded here, and we just drag a little bit with the adjustment layer that we just created, it would, so you can see here the difference. And it looks pretty awesome too. So this is a LUT. We're gonna name this, I don't know, for example, basic cinematic LUT. You'll find this on the description. And later also I will explain to you how to export a type of LUT, and if you want to send it to your friends or just for saving it for you. Let's go to the second one. Well, right now for the second one, the important thing here, we wanted to create a more dramatic look, you know, more cinematic, well, but very dramatic, to make something different. Okay, so on the basic correction, before starting with the adjustment layer, we're gonna go and test this, go a little bit into the orange field, and maybe take a little bit of the purple out and get on the tint a little bit to the green, just a little bit. Oh, well, I don't know, maybe leave it because it doesn't look too good. Yeah, something like this I think would be okay. Maybe increase a little bit this so it gets a little bit more orange. Okay, and now we can go and create a new adjustment layer. Let's say okay, we take the new, put it on top of the shot, and first of all we're gonna go again to the curves, to the RGB curves, and what we want to do here is again the same. And I think for this shot, in case we want to make it more dramatic, we can add a little bit more of this blacks, not too much of the whites. Well, yeah, a little bit, something like this. Very easy S curves. Maybe even we can go a little bit down here, so that the contrast is a little bit more visible on this idea. Again, the color grading is something that has to be very subtle. This means that first you do not have to, the color grading is not part of the image unless you want to do so. But in the case of the drone footage, generally we don't want this. And then we're gonna go to the basic correction again, to the tone, and we're gonna play a little bit with the contrast. We're gonna increase it a little bit, not too much. As you can see the difference here. In order to make it dramatic, let's go and increase it a little bit more. The highlights on this case, let's see, we don't want it to have too bright because it wouldn't be too dramatic, right? So we're gonna put them down a little bit. The shadows, we can lift this a little bit up so we don't lose the exposure, let's say, of this drone shot, and this looks already good to me. Let's also take a look at the saturation, and if we would go all the way up or all the way down, it was on 100. Let's go a little bit down, just a little tiny bit, to make it even deeper. So finally, in order to get that red light, we go to the creative part, and the shadow tint, we're gonna go into the red zone, a little bit orange, red, not too much again, but yeah, we want to also play with the tint balance. I don't know if you can see this, but we're gonna leave it somewhere here, I believe. Maybe increase this a little bit more so that we can actually have that dramatic look right now. And finally also the vignette, in order to get this dramatic look, we're gonna use a lot of vignette style. Okay, in this case we can go almost all the way down, but we're gonna leave it like this. Feather, let's decrease it also, something like this. I think this would be Okay, and again, let's take a look at how it looks with and without the adjustment layer. You can already see the difference, and for me that is a flat image, and that is something very dramatic that, I don't know, like something is going on in one of those houses around here. And let's go finally to the last shot, one of my favorite shots. This was taken actually in the north of Spain, and for this one, what we're actually gonna do is create the famous tilt and orange, which is being used for the past years in a lot of movies and blockbusters and all that stuff. This one, we're gonna do it again, the adjustment layer, create a new one, yes, okay, drag it on top of this shot, make it like this, and for this case we're not gonna use any vignette. Basic correction, sorry, see, I did this bad. We're gonna let's say temperature, increase it a little bit first. It's a little bit dark, not too much, increase the exposure, and we're gonna do this anyways afterwards. And now bring the adjustment layer on top of it, and now start editing the adjustment layer. For the tilt and orange, it is very basic grading. We would go first to the curves again, maybe increase this a little bit, not too much to pop up the blacks. And what we're gonna do here actually is create more points like this and bring this all the way up in order to have the highlights. This, I don't like it so much, like this, yeah, something like this. As you can see here, we created a different kind of curve, and this one I believe gives a good blockbuster look. And if we go to the creative part, again sharpen a little bit in case your drone is a little bit not too sharp. Also the saturation, let's pull this up, don't be scared here. Also the vibrance a little bit. And now of course in the shadows we're going to the blue, not too much, something like this, I believe. This looks good. And the highlights, of course, to the reds to create this tilt and orange look. Something like this, yeah. And to play with the balance, you can see this is finding the right balance. We've gone a little bit into this area here so that it looks a little bit like, you know, this type of Miami look. Finally, on the basic correction, on the tone, I want it to contrast a little bit, the highlights a little bit down, and the shadows a little bit up to balance that image. Finally the whites, increase them a little bit, and the blacks we're gonna leave them at 0. Maybe it's a little bit too dark, we can, yeah, something like this looks good to me. Let's see how it looks with and without it. Sorry, it's not this one. So this is the original shot, and here the LUT, I think it's a little bit too oversaturated. Let me take this a little bit out on the curves, no, on the creative part, go down a little bit. Yes, something like this looks better to me. And let's see the difference. For me it looks pretty good this way. Anyways, here the whites, the information was lost also here, so we're not losing too much information here, and this looks pretty good to me. This looks good to me. So these are the 3 shots, and now I'm gonna show you how to export your LUT in order either to use them for yourself, or even if you want, I don't know, to send them to your father or your brother or your friend if you have friends. So basically, for example, going back to the first one, which we said it was a very basic color grading, you go to the Lumetri color here, Lumetri color, save preset, and for example, let's say I said, what did I say, cinematic basic or something like that, cinematic basic cinematic, okay, click on OK. And now if we go to the effects, to presets, we'll have the cinematic basic, and we have this preview on a face with different colors. Once you have that, of course, if you create a new adjustment layer, just can drag and leave it on top of that, and this would be this would be it. Also, if you go here, click on right click on Cinematic Basic, export presets, Cinematic Basic, and save, it would give me and leave on the desktop. So this was the one I created wrong. Here the cinematic preset, and you can send this to anyone. So we're gonna do this also for this too, but I'm not gonna show you because we'll lose time. You leave the link at the description for downloading all 3 of them. I hope you really guys like this video. Leave a like, tell us if you think something was not right. We love to hear your feedback. Let us know anything, or if you want more of these tutorials, and always remember guys, keep calm and talk UAV.